Book. Good night. It's game day. So first coffee.
Wow. I look like a toe. Okay. So yeah. Thought I'd try this reading vlog thing out. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Yeah. So right now, currently, I'm reading The Magicians by Lev Grossman, and I'm really liking it. It's kind of like that, like, snobby East Coast dark academia vibe where, like, everybody's a nihilist and nobody really cares about anything, but also, like, me. Because, like, the part where I'm at in the book right now is, because if you don't know, it centers around like magician college, basically, like if the people from Harry Potter went to college, kind of, almost, a little bit, not really though, because it's not that happy. But so like all the feelings of like them after college where they're like, fuck, we had it good in college, like we don't know what to do with our lives now. Me. A big fat mood. So I have kind of an idea of what I want to read after that. I'm not sure if I want to start the second book or if I want to get around to one of my physical books and like actually fucking, you know, get rid of like some of the physical books that I have to read, because I just tend to buy them and then never fucking actually read them. So yeah. But I've been in that like spooky mood, watched Hocus Pocus, watched The Addams Family. So that's a lot of what I'm wanting to read right now. And I'll show you guys my ebook TBR at least. So here's my ebook, like kind of like what I want to read soonest thing, how I have it organized. It says currently reading, but I'm not actually currently reading all of these because that'd be insane. So yeah, so currently book 1, Magician's Trilogy. And then I've heard a lot of cool stuff about Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton, and that sounded really good. Also Small Spaces by Catherine Arden sounds super creepy. Library Mount Char, I got the audiobook on Overdrive for, so I'm super excited for that. So yeah, but who knows if I'll actually get to any of these, or if maybe, you know, I'll decide to read one of my physical books. As far as physical books that like I feel like match the vibe that I want to read right now, which is like the spooky Halloween vibe, I think I might go with A Shadow Bright and Burning, but who the fuck knows? We'll see. Your local neighborhood thumbs checking back in just because I'm about to go to the library and pick up some books that I mentioned that were on my TBR earlier. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. I'm finally back from the library and sitting by my trusty stack of books to show you guys what I got. I didn't end up getting the books that I most wanted, which were Strange Grace and Small Spaces, but I did find a couple other books that were on my TBR list that I mentioned earlier, and so I'm pretty happy with what I got. First book I got was If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This really excited me because like I said, I'm reading The Magicians right now. I'm about 80% of the way through it now since I've been listening to it on audiobook on double speed. So that has the whole like dark academia, unlikable character vibe. So even though the story just took a turn, like I'm 80% of the way through and wow. But yeah, so that kind of had the same vibe. It's a thriller. It has a lot to do with Shakespeare too. I know that. I didn't really want to know anything else because it's a thriller. I want it to surprise me. After that, I got, this was one that I didn't mention earlier, but I remembered that I really want to read it, and it works perfectly with the spooky vibe that we got going here, because, hello, Halloween time. And that is Skin Full of Shadows by Frances Hardridge. This always just really intrigued me because it's about a girl who, like a spirit or like a ghost possesses her. Like, ghosts can possess her. She has that, like, ability. And one, like, a spirit possesses her and it stays inside her. And then I guess a lot of family drama ensues and somehow the ghost helps protect her. Something like that. I don't know. Sounds really interesting and really unique. So I got that. I do not, like, I do hate this cover though. I wish I had the UK cover. But that will be something that I will buy if I like this. Okay. Next, 2 books, because I only got 4. The first one out of these 2 is The Wicked Deep, because I just watched Hocus Pocus, of course. So, I really want to do this. This is about, again, like, kind of Hocus Pocus-esque. Witches come, they have to sacrifice a kid, or they go and, like, kill boys or something. It's about witches. It sounds spooky. I wanted to watch it. I wanted to read it. Okay, and then last but not least, we have, this is, like, less spooky, but it's an urban fantasy, so it kind of goes with the spooky vibe, which is Shadow Shaper. So this is kind of, I've heard it described as, like, a more diverse shadow hunters, and I didn't like the shadow hunters. I think, like, I, like, skim read the first 3 books. I actually read City of Bones, though, and I didn't like it at all. But this is supposed to have Latinx representation, specifically Caribbean representation, and since I am Dominican, I really like that, and I'm really excited. And I thought that it matched with the spooky vibe as far as the fact that they're, like, demon hunters. They're kind of like a shadow hunter type thing. So, demons and bad spirits are spooky. So, yeah. I will check back in if I have read any more of The Magicians or if I start anything new, which is probably not likely for tonight, so I'll probably see you tomorrow. Wow, so it completely, like, just, I don't even know how I forgot, but Spookathon actually started today, so what the heck? I just realized that this is technically my unintentional Spookathon TBR, and it actually hits almost all of the challenges except for reading the group book and, like, having, like, I'm not reading the group book. I don't like anthologies, and also I don't have a book with pictures, but I do have a book with purple on the cover. See, purple. I do have a book that is not set in this time, which I'm just gonna say is The Wicked Deep, because in the synopsis it says that, like, this all started in 1822, so I'm making that count, you know. Other than that, it's read a thriller, which I got We Were Villains, so duh. And then after that, read a book with a spooky word in the title, and Skinful is, like, the creepiest word I've ever heard of. So, if I am able to finish all of these by the 21st, I will have completed almost all of the Spookathon challenges, which is really exciting, and that's kind of cool. And technically, I'll already have 1 book down for Spookathon, because, like, The Magicians doesn't really take place, well, nah, times change in The Magicians, so I wouldn't say that it necessarily takes place in our time period. And I guess I could say Magicians is a spooky word if I just wanted to add another book for myself. So yeah, this is technically now my Spookathon TBR, plus The Magicians, but it's not here because audiobooks. Okay, so I haven't vlogged anything all day because I've been lazy, and I also haven't gotten any reading done, but I am about to go on a bike ride I think I might stop by the library just to drop off a book. I wanted to reread Now I Rise, but with this whole Spookathon thing, and I have like a whole other like genre of book I want to read right now, I just know I'm not going to get around to it. So I think I'm going to go return that. And then while I'm riding my bike, I'm going to be listening to my audiobook for The Magicians. So hopefully I can get that finished today since I'm about 80% of the way through that. But other than that, all I've really been doing today is I was watching a lot last night of Crescent Moon Reads here on BookTube, and she was talking about like witchy reads and like how she's a witch and like what she does. And that reminded me that my cousin actually gave me for Christmas a couple years back a tarot card deck. So I dedicated like 3 hours today to learning what the heck that entails, how to do it, and then trying it out a couple times for both me and my friends. So that was fun. But yeah, I'll check back in after the library and tell you if I finished The Magicians, which I hope I did. Except I have no idea what book I want to start after. Okay, so I have a check-in. I've read a lot more of The Magicians because I ended up at the library for a lot longer than I thought, so it was less of a bike ride, but I still got a lot of reading done. I only have about 2 more chapters left in The Magicians. Really liking it. It took a turn. I'm not, like, I like it, but I'm not loving it, you know? And yeah, so I'm gonna continue reading that, but I wanted to check in first because while at the library, I did return a book, but I also got another book for Spookathon, and it is The Price Guide to the Occult. It is like one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen, but it's by Leslie Walton, who wrote The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. And I loved that book. Made me cry, made me sob. So I'm looking forward to more in here. Leslie Walton tends to do magical realism, so very exciting. It's about a young girl who comes from a family of witches, and then she finds this mysterious book, and like powers start to grow. So yeah, it probably also has a lot to do with like a lot of serious topics like finding yourself or whatever. But yeah, so this is added to my Spookathon TBR. Hopefully I will at least be done with one book, The Magicians, today. Trying to finish that. And then I don't know what I want to start after. Might be Shadow Shaper, since that seems like an easy read. Or Wicked Deep. This might be in the running too. This is pretty short. But yeah, that's it. I'll check back in when I have any books done. So, coming at you from a terrible angle, but I finally finished The Magicians, and it was a weird ending. I really liked it. It's not at all what I expected. The main character, Quentin, is insufferable. But it's a cool story. It's an interesting story. It's like a dark Harry Potter, but much more expansive than the Harry Potter universe, with much more expansive powers too. Yeah, I really liked it. I think I need to think about it a little bit more, but yeah, I really liked it. So, once again, I've been terrible about checking in. So, this is my check-in. It's like 7 o'clock. I think I filmed a little bit of stuff from earlier today, but not much. Um, Today was really just chill. I didn't actually start reading until about 2 hours ago. I started on an audiobook, and I'm about to continue on the physical book, but maybe also while reading the audiobook because, well, I'll explain what book I'm reading first. So, I'm reading If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I'm about 109 pages into it that far, and it's really good so far. I'm really liking it, and I didn't expect to, because the whole like Shakespeare, thespian, actor, like very serious theater, highbrow art kind of thing usually doesn't vibe with me. It's not really something that like que me atrae, that I'm drawn to. And it's really good. It's really like the kind of mystery and intrigue of why, because let me explain what it's about first. It's about this kid named Oliver who has been in prison for 10 years, and he's being let out on parole for good behavior. And it's about what got him there, because like we're not even for sure what he did, but like we know, like, you're in prison for 10 years, you murdered somebody. So so far we're kind of learning about where he went to college. It's an art school, but like an art university. And he's talking about like how he went there, his friends, and like it's kind of like this spooky, really weird, you don't even get a complete like real college degree at the end of it. Every year, if you're not good enough, you get kicked out of school. And so being seniors at this college for their program that they're in, there's only 7 of them. And it's kind of like, they didn't say exactly, oh no, they did. It's in Illinois, so it's kind of like a, but it has the feel of like an East Coast, like this is somewhere in Vermont where like nobody else lives. It just has like a really creepy vibe about it. And so the mystery has started of like why he's there. We don't even like really know what happens. We're just kind of learning about these 7 people and like their relationship with each other. And so far, stuff has started to happen. I'm on because it's split up into like a play, so like act 1, act 2, and then each kind of chapter within that is scenes. So I'm on act 2, scene 5 right now. And yeah, stuff has started to get weird because something like crazy happens at the end of act 1, and then we flash back to the present for a second, and then we flashed back to the past. So, and like left off right where it kind of ended in act 1. And I'm still like, I don't, like, I have an idea of what's gonna happen, but it feels too obvious for me. So I really hope that ML Rio surprises me with this. But so far, as far as like, the writing is beautiful. There's a bunch of Shakespeare quotes in it that I thought I would hate, because like in high school and stuff, I hated Shakespeare. I hated it so much. The only Shakespeare plays that I really liked were like Much Ado About Nothing, and I love Twelfth Night because that's what She's the Man, aka the best movie of all time, is based upon. So yeah, I thought I would hate it, but I actually really like it, and I actually found myself like while I was listening to the audiobook, just like going around like on my bike, I was like, ooh, that sounds good. I should highlight that. That's a good quote. When like it's a fucking Shakespeare quote. Like, of course it is. So yeah, other than that, today has been, for the most part, uneventful. You know, normal, post-college, trying to find a job. Had to help my mom clean because she's having people over on Friday, so that's fun. I was really tempted to almost go to a pumpkin patch today, but I don't. But I think I'm gonna go tomorrow instead. Yeah, I had a meeting with somebody that I thought could be a job opportunity. They were an alumni from my university. Turns out no, they wanted entrepreneurs, which that's not me. Also, the entrepreneurial stuff, doing it on your own stuff, but like you're still a part of a group, sketches me out. It just reminds me of those like Herbalife pyramid scheme type jobs. So, like, I'm bummed that it didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to, but I'm also glad that I didn't get roped in with any of that stuff. Yeah, I guess I will. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot more clips or if I'll just check back in when I have something else to do, but I am going to continue reading. So I'll see you later. Quick check-in. Still reading. I'm on page 155. And so they just, like, the thriller, the whole reason that Oliver's in jail, I think it's finally been revealed, but I'm not entirely sure because this is only like halfway through the book. But something that just came to mind was, like, this is a thriller. This is about, like, figuring out who done it, who's the murderer, whatever. And I just realized about how, like, it's a very contained story in that, like, you have a, like, clue. Like, you have a set of suspects of who did it. And I'm just realizing how crazy this is. That, like, it's so smart that, like, the thing that makes it super sinister isn't necessarily the fact that somebody died, because, like, you saw it coming. It's just the fact that they're all actors, so you don't know if anybody's telling the truth. And, like, I feel like I just went into this book being like, oh, Oliver is a super reliable narrator, but then he was having a conversation with the cop character that he's telling the story to, and I was like, and the cop was like, how much of that is the truth? And I was like, oh yeah, because he always talks about how he's not that good of an actor. So I'm like, but then he's also survived to the 4th year of the school, but he just says that it's luck. And I'm just like, have you been lying this whole time? Like, what is the actual story? Like, what actually happened? Like, who, you don't, like, I don't know who would be telling the truth. And, like, still right now, like, we don't know who killed the person. I'm tripped out right now. Okay, anyway, If We Were Villains, ML Rio, great book so far. Like, honestly though, me. I look like a nerd right now because I have my helmet on because I am currently actually on a bike ride, and I came to this really cute pumpkin patch, which I also got some footage of. They have farm animals here and pumpkins and corn mazes and stuff, but you have to pay for that. So I'm actually at the parking lot because I was taking a bunch of pictures because, like, it's like sunset, so lighting is prime. And then I'll finally have something to post on my Instagram because I never post on either of my Instagrams really anymore. So yeah, book update though. I have been listening to If We Were Villains, and it's getting real intense, you know. Something big happened last night, and then right now I kind of left myself on a cliffhanger because I stopped listening to, like, fully enjoy the pumpkin patch. And yeah, everything might change. I'm still kind of confused on, like, how everything got as bad as it is in the present because it flashes back to the past. to see where they are at school and stuff, and like to explain how everything happened. And like, maybe it's just me, but like they didn't, like, I don't think the dude that died, I don't think he was murdered, or at least from what we know right now, like they didn't, like nobody murdered him. Like the police rule it as an accident, and like I feel like he was probably murdered, but none of the characters that we know so far and know anything about them so far, it seems like they haven't done anything. Like, okay, I'm gonna spoil a big part. I'm not gonna say character names, but so they like are a set of characters. A bunch of them find the body of this guy, and it's another character that we know, and he's still alive, but they decide to let him die. And like, while terrible, it's not really like they didn't murder him. So is it weird if I'm just like, it's not that bad? Because like they're all scared, like police and stuff, but like they also like, they could have told the truth and like didn't do anything. Like I felt like they lied a lot more than they needed to. Also, like all the extra lying made it worse. Like, yeah, they didn't have to say, oh yeah, we waited until he died because he wasn't a good person. They could have just been like, oh, like we got there and he was dead. And also they didn't have to go into the water to check the pulse. All they had to do was call. I get that they wanted to make sure he was dead, but by that point, like, he's been in that super cold water. Like, you know he's dead. If he ain't moving and he's half submerged, you know he's dead. Why do you have to go in there? So, yeah. Anyway, I will let you know when I read more. And I should probably actually head home because I'm supposed to help my mom with something. So I will talk to you guys later. Okay, I just got home, so I've been listening on audio, but something just happened in If We Were Villains that, like, I can't. So, our main character, Oliver, there's not, like, a whole ton about, like, the sexuality of each character, except one character, Alexander, is supposed to be gay, but it's more like, I feel like he's like pansexual or something, because he always makes comments about girls. He said even once that he was sexually amphibious, which something that rubbed me the wrong way was that the main character said that being sexually amphibious was gross, which I feel like the main character of this story, Oliver, is just the most sexually repressed little boy, because so like he is assumed to be straight, but I don't know if ML Rio does this on purpose, but like the homoerotic undertones between him and his best friend / roommate James are crazy. And there's just this scene where they're performing Romeo and Juliet, and James is Romeo, like playing Romeo, and then Oliver is playing like his right hand man. Forget the name. I hate Romeo and Juliet. It's whatever. But James says the line, "In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman," which is Romeo's line when he's being all depressed in the beginning of the play. And then he gets like fumbled by it. Like he's like, everything was too real for him. He says, "I forgot which line of mine followed. We stared at each other, and the crowd faded around us into indistinct shadow and set dressing. With a jolt, I remembered my words, but not quite the right ones. Be ruled by me," I said, a few lines too soon. Forget to think of her. So, like, they're in love. Because also, like, Oliver, he's assumed to be straight. He's assumed to have a thing with this girl. And she got, like, mad at him because he couldn't go visit her. Because James came over when they were on school break. I'm trying to, like, literally give like the least amount of spoilers possible, but it's really hard. But yeah, like it feels like everybody else can see it, but they can't see it. But like they were talking about how like it was the whole, oh, like there's only one bed to sleep in, I'm not gonna make you sleep on a couch. And then he like wakes up and they're cuddling, but then he doesn't want to move to like disturb the moment. But it's not said like that. And I'm just like, make out already or something. Like, God, just do something. It's so annoying. But also, it's so good because it's not explicit at all. It's all undertones. But that's what I feel. I don't know if anybody else has read it and they think differently, or even if that's what the author meant. But you know, bad y'all. So he finally admitted that he's in love with his best friend. Lord, well, not that he's in love, but that he's jealous. I think that they're both two bi boys who are in love with themselves, but then also have feelings for other girls. Yeah. Anyway, continuing reading. I'm now on Act 3. See, look at that's where he says, I was jealous. Anyway, so Act 4, I just finished Act 3. I only have this much more left to go. There's the queen who wrote this great book. We're all so proud. Love it. So first time doing something for this vlog where I don't look like a toe, but I just finished this and I'm so confused. Like, okay, so my theory about that the main character Oliver and like the other guy that they were in love happened, blah blah blah, but it was never like acted upon, and it was seen as like this big driving force for the actions that come at the conclusion of the book. And I was just like, I don't know, I didn't feel it. It seemed a little anticlimactic to me. I kind of predicted it. It was between like two people that I was debating between, but as it got, you know, closer and closer to the end, I was like, something's weird. You know, like it didn't surprise me that that's who it was. Like, because we find out who the killer is. But also, I don't know, like the ML Rio is so good at foreshadowing. Like at the end of every act or the end of every scene, it's like, you know, like, oh, one of the lines that was great, it was saying like, because he was like, we cracked up, and then he was saying that wasn't a good enough way. It was like, but we didn't shatter until Christmas. And I thought that there was gonna be like a big dramatic, somebody else gets murdered or somebody else like attempts to murder another person because they found out who did it, but that wasn't what happened. And like, it just made it feel like a whole lot of nothing happened and then the end happened. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm gonna give it a 4 stars because it was really good and I was super intrigued, very atmospheric, really loved it, and it made me actually enjoy reading something that had Shakespeare in it. So I appreciate that. But as a mystery, it didn't shock me in any way. So I can't say that it like blew my mind in that way. But it's written beautifully. Like, I will read anything else that she writes, honestly. Okay. Well, I should go because I'm actually supposed to be out at this thing that my mom's having at her house, and I've just been holed up in my room finishing my makeup and finishing this because, like, I couldn't put it down. I was like, I only have a couple pages until I finish it. I need to finish it. And like, okay, also like the very ending of this book, I know I've been semi-spoilery, but I'm really trying not to spoil it, but like, the ending of this book confused me because I'm just gonna spoil, I mean, it's super predictable, but so the main character Oliver never did the crime that he's accused of. That's kind of like obvious when you first enter the story because he's getting out after 10 years and then telling his story because the cop is like this never added up to me. So the real killer, who we find out who that is, the real killer that Oliver took the place of, there's like this thing where he thinks that that person committed suicide, and then at the very, very end, like he might, like we're left with like he might be alive. But I'm like, what's the point of that? Because he, did I just like not read that right? Because the real killer never admitted to not being like because he was saying like what was it? Yeah, Oliver says no explanation or confession. That there were 2 envelopes left by where he supposedly disappeared, like the other person supposedly disappeared, and then it said, but there was no explanation or confession. So I'm confused on why this person fakes their own death, because we're left with like how the whole real killer's body was never found, blah blah blah, and he's supposed to have, or the person's supposed to have drowned themselves. And like, but you never confess to the crime. Like, that's not why Oliver was let out of prison. Oliver was let out of prison because of good behavior. So why, like, there was no need for that. It was like, I guess, to have like a happy-ish ending, but like it just didn't make sense to me. It was weird. Like, a great book, and I was actually like, oh, what the fuck? Oh my god, like, that's crazy. He's still alive? All of this? Like, what's gonna happen now? But also, like, I don't know. I'm just like, there was no reason for him to do that. He was dying from the guilt, but, you know, I should get going. Hey guys. So I look terrible. I'm actually just getting ready for bed now. It is the end of the week. It is Sunday. I definitely haven't been keeping you updated on what days it is, but it's the end of the week now. Spookathon is officially over, and I have only completed 2 books. I completed The Magicians and If We Were Villains, and I gave them both 4 stars. So the books that I showed you that I hauled from the library that I didn't get to, I think I'm going to get to starting the 24th, but I'm just going to be vlogging the whole thing, of Witchathon, and that's really exciting. Can't wait for that. I'm thinking about maybe getting a couple extra books to fit into that. I really want to read Strange Grace still, and Small Spaces. Strange Graces by Tessa Gratton, Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. I also really just had like the weirdest urge to, I read the Six of Crows duology recently, because I had read the Grisha trilogy but didn't really like it, but I have the urge to read Language of Thorns, which I never really had the urge to read, but a like cool mystical fairy tale thing just kind of really vibed with me. So I'll keep you guys updated. But as far for this vlog, you're done now. Bye.